Hello, I'm Lucy and my blog is Paper Glitter Glue, and I want to show you how to make this cute little house called the Sea Shack. And I've even got a little life preserver. And so let me go through the basic steps to show you how I make how I apply the siding and construct the house itself. And also how to make this really cute little dock that it's on, or pier. Alrighty, so first, this is the pattern. I'm grabbing it now. This is the pattern that's in my blog. It's a free pattern. It's in, I guess it'll be in the first day of May, 2021. It's the Sea Shack, and this is the basic structure. And this is the way it comes out. For the most part, this is the way it comes out when you cut it on a machine like the Cricut. I used my Cricut maker for this one. But they never score precisely enough for me, so I always rescore the lines with the back of my X-Acto knife, the back of it, not the sharp point, just to make a really sharp line so I can get a good fold, a nice sharp fold. So I always rescore all the lines on my pattern. And then I've got one that's already been primed and is ready for applying the siding. So let me show that to you. That is this one. I've already applied one side. I always prime it before I assemble it, because when you fold, I'll show you with this one, when you fold along a score line, it opens up, and if you don't prime before, you'll get this kind of raw, naked edge of cardboard. So I prime before I start, and this is how it'll go together. I call these things roof flaps. They maintain the structure, so they hold it together, and they hold these two gable ends together. They keep them from either flexing in or out. So I use roof flaps, and then I glue these triangles, roof tabs, to the roof flaps, and that's the basic structure of the house. But because I'm adding some pretty detailed work to it, I usually do that kind of decorative work first. So I'll show you with the back piece. This is a crackle painted piece. It's slightly smaller. It's in the pattern as well. It's slightly smaller than the piece it belongs to. And all you do is cut it so that you can mimic siding. Here. Alrighty, so I just cut tiny strips. And I'll show you kind of an obsessive detail that I do. Again, this is raw cardboard. I like there to be a shadow on the edge of the siding, so I generally get some paint or ink and just do a light line of black so I can outline my siding. So that's just my obsessive detail. I don't think it's really necessary, but I always do it. Okay, let me find some glue. Stumble around and find some glue. You can use a light glue, like the Elmer's Glue All, or one of the Aleene's tacky glue. But you don't need real strong glue at this point, because this actually isn't structural. This is decorative, and it's, you know, cardboard to cardboard, so it sticks pretty well. I do try to make sure there's enough on the edges. So I smear down a side, smear the glue down to a side, and if you are a messy person like me, you just, or how about a relaxed crafter like myself, I just make it a smooth layer with my finger. And just stick it down. and particularly on the ends. You want the ends to be anchored pretty well, and then just continue doing that. And since this piece mimics the shape of this side, of the back side, and this circle in the back is what I consider it's a light hole. So if you want to add light to your little project, you can add it to the back. And it doesn't show, but I almost always have a hole in the base too. So if you want to add light, like a little LED light or even a string of lights, you can do that. So I'm not going to make you wait through all this. I'll just fast forward this part, and then we'll go on to assembling the structure of the house. Okay, now that I've shown you how to do that side, and you can see that I quit edging it because I was getting the black paint everywhere, but you can't tell the distinct pieces of siding quite as easily unless you do edge it. So I actually generally take the time to do that. Okay, so next I'm going to show you a little bit about the roof and the little dormers and how to simplify making them. All right, here's the roof piece, and I also used my crackle paint technique on the little dormers. I used to try to glue them when they were on the house, but when the house is standing up and you glue the dormers like this, they kept sliding down. Now I'm like, this is a simple roof, so I'm just going to glue them directly to the roof while it's flat, and that should be much simpler. I guess I should do these too. I'm going to add the little window frames. Try to get them in straight and get that glue out of there. Okay, but it's a rustic house, so if stuff isn't perfectly straight, that's okay with me. This isn't exactly a Halloween house, which is what I make a lot of times, but it's definitely rustic. So you have a larger margin of error. So Bill the cat keeps sharing his little fluffy white hairs everywhere. Alrighty, so now I just apply generous amount of glue on the back, all along the shape of the dormer. And put it in place. Just going to smush it down and leave it. That's really the key, is to leave it so that the glue has time to adhere. Let's do the same with this one. Apply the glue. And some of the excess glue will be obscured by the dormer roof. So a lot of this little leakage around the top, that'll be obscured when I add this. Normally, because you have to apply pressure to hold the dormers in place, the dormer roofs in place. See, I can already see it's not exactly the way I want. No, you don't, Bill. You got to get down. Come over a little bit. Bill, get down. He'll jump up into the light box. I don't know why he likes to be in the light box. Alrighty, now like I said, the key is to leave it alone so it's got time to dry. And when it's dry, I apply glue all along here as well as the front of the dormer, and then I basically just hold it in place. Also, when you're applying a dormer or a dormer roof to the roof, you have to make sure you do the angle. This is the angle of the roof. The roof is going to go like this. So you apply the angled piece to the back. Sometimes people get confused about that. Alrighty, that's the roof. And this little tiny thing is a window box. And it's just a little square with flaps on the end, and you glue the flaps down, and that functions as a window box. And it's kind of a pain because it's so tiny, but I think it's a fun detail, and I also included some flowers in the pattern as well. All right, let me go back. I told you about the structure. This is the side glue tab. And these are roof flaps. I bend them forward because they bend forward easier at first, and then I'll bend them backwards. So bend the flap back. Now we can bend this side easier to the back, to the back. The same thing with this. I'll bend it forward first and then back, and I've got a nice sharp line. And now I'll apply glue along here, and I usually get a little binder clip and put that at the bottom so they make sure it lines up well. And then I'll get a piece of tape, painter's tape, and tape it here. And I'll glue these down, and if you know, again, to help them while their glue is drying, I'll put a piece of painter's tape like right there. Another piece up here. Once all that's dry, the roof tabs are glued to the roof flap, and the side tab is well adhered. That's when I add the roof. And I'm not going to show you that just because the dormers are drying on the roof. And so that is the house structure, the flower boxes. We've talked about the little dormers, adhering the dormers to the roof, decorating with siding. So next I want to show you how to make the dock. So here is the dock, and here is one that's not, you know, that I'm going to use on my next house. So I painted black. I didn't on this one, and you can see that the space between the boards on the pier are light. I painted it a light gray, and I really should have painted it darker. So in this one, I'm painting it black. And what I'm using, you can use cardboard, but I really like this effect. These are coffee stirrers. And the nice thing is they cut really, really easy. Don't use your good scissors. You'll get in trouble with your mom. But, these are like some old suture scissors that I salvaged from the hospital. And what you do is just trim them to length. And see how easy it cuts? And because it's a dock, and things get a little warpy and, you know, get a little warped and stuff, I'm not real precise about it. You can choose to be as precise as you want. Just kind of add those. Let me make sure I do it about right. Let's see. And then just glue them down. You have to use a lot of glue for this, partly because the base I make is 4 or 5 layers of corrugated cardboard, and it's not perfectly flat, so I put a lot of glue down and then just kind of hold them. All right, the other thing about it is I made some little steps on the front of this house, and I used balsa wood that you get in I just got some really inexpensive balsa wood, And the other nice thing about it is it cuts just as easily. Let me get a piece out for you. Just as easily with scissors. You might get a rough edge. Okay, so see, we've got a rough edge, but you can sand it, or you can kind of trim it. I'm going to trim it over here. Kind of trim it. And if you want it to be thinner, then you can just get your craft knife and kind of cut this way. But that's how I make the steps. And I use one of these balsa pieces for the little side supports on the pier. So again, you can just cut them really easily. And they go. So it's just easy, and it's really effective, I think, as a pier or a dock. So I really like that. And painting it, I just did one layer of paint. You know, I like to experiment with paint, but I just did one layer of brown paint, and it worked really well. Because this isn't high quality wood, so the stain was the paint kind of dried unevenly, which I think is much more realistic. So I really like that. All right, so that's how you construct the sea shack with its little pier, and I think it's a fun summertime craft, and I hope you will enjoy it. So you can get the pattern for free on my blog when you sign up for the newsletter, and it's paperglitterglue.com. Okay, alrighty, y'all have a good time. Bye.